Continuing on with our discussion on home design, let's talk about room size. Room size, when people say I have a 4-bedroom home, the size of those bedrooms can vary dramatically, and that would actually then dramatically vary the price of the home. So when you're starting to design a home, you're asking people what it is they actually need. Some people will just say, I need massive bedrooms. Now, you've really got to get behind the reason why you need massive bedrooms. It could be large pieces of furniture, it could be king-size beds, etc., etc. So when you're talking home design and thinking about that, sometimes where people have come from, as in the house they're living now or one they have lived in the past, has an ideal room size. So as a professional designer, developer, builder, etc., you really need to ask people whether it's something they've had in the past that they like. And generally speaking, even in a project home, if you've had a certain size bedroom or lounge room or something in a prior home, it is ideal that you write down those dimensions or bring your old plan that you had, if you had a plan of the house, and bring that to the person who's designing your home and try and replicate that if it's something that you really like. So it's a pretty simple process, really. If you think about all the homes you've lived in, and I've lived in a few myself, and think about the features of the other homes that you really liked and you may want to replicate. It could be the kitchen layout, it could be a skylight in the roof, it could be a rake ceiling, whatever it is. That's really something that you should put on your on the list we showed you before, which is your needs and wants, things you absolutely need and things you would like, I suppose, down that list. Some of those things will become needs, and silly things like, yes, I need a kitchen, well, that's a need, but, you know, do you need a rumpus room 7 metres by 7 metres? Could you be satisfied with a rumpus room 4 by 5 metres or something like that? So every square metre, remember, you add to a house up front at the planning stage is more cost to build. That it's a direct correlation between size and cost to build. Now let's talk about the outside of the home. There's always a way to save money building a home. You can always reduce the price. You can cut something off the home, you can reduce the eaves, as an example, the overhang, the roof overhang where the gutters are back to zero. That reduces costs. You could flatten off the roof, you can use a cheaper brick, you could use a cheaper window. There's 1,000 ways through a house that you can actually go through and save money. However, being a developer and a real estate agent, there is a certain amount of things or a certain look of a home that if you go too far out of the box, particularly in a residential estate, and you make the house look too cheap, you do run a risk of losing a lot of money in the future when you go to sell that home. Let me explain. If you have a well-designed, pleasant-looking home in a nice street and it has nice street appeal as people drive past, etc., immediately when you go to sell a home, that is attractive to people. For me personally, I wouldn't have a home without an eave overhang, especially on the western side, northern side or eastern side. The southern side is not so important, but eaves do have a purpose of stopping rain coming into windows when it's raining. There's a lot of homes built in years gone by without eaves. There was no other reason other than builders trying to save cost. That was it. There was no other reason to take an eave off a house. In fact, it works in the contrary, because you have a very inefficient home inside the home as far as sun entering into the home and you're heating it up, harder to air condition, etc. There's lots of reasons why I believe you should have an eave on a home. So if you've got all homes in a street, as an example, this is talking about home design, and they all look pleasant, whatever that happens to be in your mind, and they've got eaves and the homes are solar efficient and function well, then along comes the house your designer has designed or your builder and plonks it in the middle of the street, paints it pink, nothing against pink, but paints it pink, and all the other homes have got a nice toned down colours, and the house stands out. You may like that. You might think that looks fantastic, I love the pink house, but sometimes, well, I would suggest as an agent is you've always got to think about resale. There could be 1,000 reasons why you want to sell your home. Up front, you always say, oh, I'm going to live in, people say, I'm going to live in this house forever, I'm never moving again. On average, Australians move every 7 years. So unless your house is particularly architectural and you're in an area that can carry that off and get, I suppose, achieve a greater value down the track, or you just don't care about the money, it doesn't matter, you can design whatever you like on any block of land. However, getting a house that's is congruent with the houses around it and has a nice street appeal is very, very important from a resale aspect. So designing your home up front, some people spend so much money inside the house they don't put much on the outside. But I would suggest to you that the street appeal of the home is a very, very important aspect of home design.